Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I received an email in regards to a friend of ours, young friend of ours from Tennessee, who asked me if we could talk about understanding or something that could be helpful in dealing with death of a family member or death of a loved one. Um, in some cases, it's a family member in human form, and in some cases, it's a beloved animal of that, a companion of that person. Either way, you can interpret it any way you like, but we can talk about death of a family member and see if there's any way we can understand it, because really there is no solution in a way that we human beings can understand as far as the physical part of our being is concerned. In other words, if you're looking for a physical return of that family member, that entity, that life, the way we knew it, as far as I know, it's never been done in my lifetime, or at least as far as I know, because never say never. But let's examine some things together, so perhaps it can maybe be something to consider when we are affected by these sort of things. Our friend tells me that he lost his mom 7 years ago and he can't shake it, and he is depressed, and he's mostly spending his time at home and hiding in his home, really, in a way. I can understand that. I can understand how that can come about. So let's talk about it. This could be a long video, but who cares? The ones who want it, watch it. The ones who don't, it's another video among the many. So you use them as you need them. Well, I guess we best try to understand what is the life as we know it. Is it what we see, like our face and our body, and then the person dies, and therefore we now are devastated because that entity, that physical entity that we were in touch with, that we could touch, feel, be in physical contact with, is gone? And is that what we want to handle? Is that how we understand? Because if that's the extent of it, that's what we are focusing on. Well, as I mentioned, pretty much not much that I know we could do. But perhaps if we understand the real meaning of our existence and how our life is comprised, what we are in entirety, maybe we'll have a different point of view. So the way I think, maybe right, maybe wrong, the way I think is that obviously we are more than the physical presence, because unless a physical presence has a way to translate the energy that is floating and flowing, moving about throughout the universe, and use it as an energy source to ignite or activate an engine, another entity, so the energy would be source of power, what creates and brings intelligence and makes everything work, and then the physical entity would be the apparatus that we need to move about, do things, pick up things, and experience more by being able to manipulate things that we come in contact and affect them and be affected in a physical way, so we can translate it and bring more experience and knowledge as a whole for the universe. And when we die, we take all these experiences and knowledges, whether we acquired them through wisdom and analytical summation, or through experiences which came to us because of having a physical body, and we accumulated that experience, and then we take them back with us when we die to the universe, and help the universe as a whole to become wiser and more perfect and understand more. Perhaps we are the instruments that we are here to accumulate experiences through our lifetime journey, and then when we die, we take all that experience back. Our physical being extinguishes somehow, but our intelligence and the energy flows back as it's always been flowing through us and back while we were alive. How do I say that? Why do I say that? Well, I've explained that in detail in my book, but perhaps we don't want to wait that long till the book comes out, and maybe I can approach it in a different way here, so you can have something to go by until the book comes out and you see that version there. So you see, when we get up in the morning, as I explained in some of the videos, in the meditation part or the willpower part, we are vigorous. We got lots of energy if we're healthy. And through the day, we do things and we consume that energy. And even if we sit on the couch and watch TV or do nothing, just doze off, just do nothing and just look around, at the end of the day, having done nothing, but yet something has been facilitating our livelihood, and we've been using some kind of an energy just to be, just to sit there. And that's why at the end of the day, even though we haven't done anything, sitting on the couch like couch potato, we feel kind of exhausted, kind of drained, not as refreshed as we were when we got up in the morning. So that means we've consumed something. So that means we had something more of it, whatever it was in the morning. And in the evening, it's diminished. So we don't have as much of it. So that's something that we've been using throughout the day. We call it energy, which, interesting enough, when we sleep without really knowing, the energy from the universe fills us up. It's like our mind, our existence tunes up in a frequency that it can accept all these energies at nighttime when we're sleeping. When we sleep, our brain perhaps decreases its ripples to the point that it sets a certain connection with the frequency of receiving, accepting, and absorbing energy. And that's why then in the morning, again, we're ready to go. Sports, school, work, deal with life and so on. And that happens constantly every night. So all through our life, energy had been filling us up at nighttime when we sleep. And in the morning, we've been using that energy. So we receive and then we give it out or somehow lose it. So there is a connection, even though when we're living. We don't notice it. We don't think so. We just think we're tired and then we're not. But maybe there's more than this connection while we're alive. Maybe it's more than just getting energy and then consuming it and then getting energy. So more than this energy. Maybe our frequency, maybe our brain waves, maybe our intelligence, maybe our wisdom, maybe our experiences is also somehow connected with the bigger picture, the bigger wisdom, the wisdom of the universe as a whole, and it's affecting it all through our life. So maybe there is a interaction of that level as well. which I don't think it's outrageous or too unreasonable to think that way. So then, our life is not just physical. So when we get to a certain age or a certain condition, that we cannot absorb that energy that we absorb when we sleep, as we just talked about it, what happens then? Isn't it like the kind of a toy that we have, that we use it up, play with it all day long? You know, when I remember when I was a kid, I had a tank. I had a battery, and it was, we would call it remote control, but it had a wire hanging to the tank, and then this thing where it held the battery had two buttons, and you push one, go forward, and push one, go backward, and so that was a remote control of then. But when the batteries of a toy depletes, what do? You recharge the battery nowadays. Before, we would go and buy a new battery. But let's say you recharge the battery, right? And then you play again, and then it dies down again, then you recharge the battery again. It's like us. We use the energy, and then we kind of down there somewhere, and at nights we sleep, and it's recharging. Our mind enters into frequency, accepts the recharging, and then we recharge in the morning, we use it again, just like the toy. But there would be a time that this battery of the toy can't hold charges anymore. It's too old. So you charge it up, it works a little bit, it doesn't, let us play with the toy as long as we're used to it, accustomed, and it was normal for it. And I feel the same way it happens to us human beings, that at one point, eventually, we can't accept the charge. And then that's when we, gone. Yeah, so at that time, then, what happens to the energy? Because the energy wasn't being generated by us, it was out there. And when we can't hold energy, but the energy is still out there, same energy that was coming in and going out. Yeah? So our energy, our portion of energy that we have been filling and emptying through our lifetime has been affecting the universe automatically all through our lifetime. And then at the end as well, when we can't take it, when we can't keep charge anymore, our physical entity cannot take charge, cannot hold charge. But the charge itself, which was part of our life, the key itself, the energy itself, which was part of what we are made of, because without that, our body wouldn't be anything. So that was big part of our life. That doesn't die. Where does that go? That goes where it's always been coming from. Part of the whole. So in reality, philosophically, I really will never die. The ones who have died never died in many ways. One way that they have touched our lives with the things that they've done, provided for us or affected us, taught us the way they have interacted with us, touched our lives. And also because of what I just explained, their energy is simply a big part of their life, and that energy couldn't be held in that physical entity, but the energy itself was still fine, and it could be the same as it always was. Only the case couldn't hold it, couldn't charge it, couldn't keep the charge. So our energy returns back to the source, to the universe, to where it came from, and our energy hasn't deleted, hasn't faded, hasn't decimated, hasn't dissipated. It's just we don't have something that it could hold it, so it would give us that physical appearance that would work. The hologram, supposedly. So the energy is there. What we have made out of ourselves, our wisdom, our character, everything, that still is out there, is there. It doesn't die. I don't think it will disappear, because it can't. Where does it go? Where could it go? It is part of having made this universe the way it is, because every one of us are contributing and affecting the universe as we live and how we live. And the universe, as a result of all these experiences and interchange and exchanges and so on, interactions, learns and expands its wisdom and its abilities and understanding and knowledge. I know a bit philosophical, but I think it's the best explanation I can come up with. And I stand by it. I lost my dad 4 years ago. This is 2015 and 2011. I lost my dad. But I see him every day. I see his thoughts, philosophy, interaction. When I think about it, I see his resemblance in my face every morning when I get up in the mirror. I sometimes really see so clearly, maybe a corner of his lips or his eye or the way he looks or the way he smiles, maybe his teeth, something that I can see him in me. I'm sure every one of you who have had, have lost a loved one you were very close to, like parents, and you loved them, you were close to them, you will see them in you, and you will always see the good of them in you. And that is what we should hang on to. Who says we should shake it off? My friend says I can't shake it off. Why do you have to shake it off? Celebrate it. Celebrate it. Live with it. Live. Because inevitably, we all eventually will end up with our physical being not being able to hold charges anymore, and then our energy floats back to the universe. So we'll eventually go that way. So what's a hurry? Why should we then die inside with being depressed or being cooped up in the house and don't want to do anything, keep thinking about how it was and so on and forth? Why should we die before our death, as we talked about it? Even though it's not death, I believe there's start of something else, but I don't know what it is. But the logic tells me if that energy cannot decimate, cannot die, because it's part of the universe, has been coming and going, and when I can't hold the energy, doesn't mean the energy dies. I just can't hold it, but the energy is alive. So if that doesn't die, therefore that means I haven't died. There must be something else. That's what I can make out of it. That's how I like to think, at least. Right or wrong, I don't know. Because where does it go? It's outside the universe? The energy doesn't poof away like our physical being can kind of get, I don't know, composted or something. The energy always changes its characteristics to something else, light to heat, gives light, but heat is created, or the heat dies down, fire dies down, but the heat is created, something like this. We read that in chemistry and whatnot, but it's further than that. And the energy itself, the way the atoms and so on is constantly working together, the universe has been put together, and all the energy floating through it and through us, that can't die. Where does it go? So therefore, you see your parents in you. You see them all the time. Whether it's their knowledge, experiences, what they taught you, or their facial expressions, or your expressions, or the way you deal with things, or, move. You can see them in you. And that's great. So we got to celebrate that rather than thinking or being in sorrow and hiding in our rooms or whatnot, because otherwise we've really wasted all the sacrifices that they'd made for us, everything that they provided for us. They helped us to grow and learn and be nourished, and taught us, or helped us to develop the person that we have become to be. And now they're gone, and we use that excuse as sitting at home and be depressed. And so we are actually really not doing justice or honor to their efforts and sacrifices. We're actually just saying, okay, I'm crumbling, so I'm going to waste everything you did for me, and I'm not going to make myself an entity that could leave and affect this universe while I'm alive to help the universe grow and become wiser and advance. I'm just going to deny my contribution to the actuality of this whole event of life through universal expansion and advancement by my experiences in a physical way, in a physical world, here while I'm alive. I'm just going to give that up. Well, that's not fair. That's not really fair to the actual essence and direction and the purpose of the life and universe and why we're here. Well, remember, we have a mission. We have certain kind of a mission here. I mean, there's a reason for us to be there. We've all been chosen to be here. And why say I that? It's not a religious thinking or offering. It's simple. When mom and dad, they were in love, and about 300 million or 3 billion sperms were produced. And out of those millions and millions of them, one of us could win of all of those millions that had the possibility to become. And you were that sperm. You were that one who won over every other one. So we are winners to begin with. We've been blessed with life, chosen to be, deserve to be here, and now let's fulfill it. Let's fulfill what we're here to do. Let's contribute to this whole life, rather than now being devastated because we lost our father or our mother, and then suddenly let go of our mission, of our calling, of our duty and responsibility that we are here as an entity to experience and bring additional information, knowledge, and take with us back to the universe and affect the universe and life while we are in a physical form here. And suddenly give up and just sit at home and just say, it's kind of a selfishness. It's like we're waiting for someone to feel sorry for us. Why would we be weak? That's kind of a weakness. It's not honoring our parents, because if you're gone, I'm gone. I feel so selfish. But okay, now let's talk about the other part that I wanted to talk about. Like maybe it helps us to understand why we're so devastated. Well, all through our lives we're programmed and we've been conditioned to be with our parents as long as they're alive, and whatever relationship we had, especially if we had a good relationship. Nothing's ever been perfect, but mostly, good parents have lots of good relationships, and the ones that we think it wasn't good, really it was good. They just were tough on us just to make us to think or come up with right solutions and stay on the right path and all that, so forth. So that's all still positive, even though we may not have liked it at the time or felt, it was harsh or, unfair or whatever. But in these sort of things, they're all good, positive, strong. So we're accustomed or conditioned to think of them as our provider, the one who fed us, helped us, was with us, interacted with us, backed us up. We had interaction with them. We were family. We loved each other. And so we had created this very wonderful order in our life. Certainty. Father, mother is alive, strong, gives us certain certainty, especially when we're kids. And so we're conditioned to feel and count on that certainty. Security, which psychological security is what we are always in search of all through our lives in our adulthood. But when we're a child, we're not really looking for it much because we have it. Without really noticing it, we have it, we feel it. Why? Because our security and psychological security and certainty is summed up in our parents in the kind of conditions and comfort and the life that they have provided for us. The bed, the food, the shelter, the schooling, oh, you fell down, it's okay, dear, it'll be okay, and all that. All the things that provided this wonderful shield, and for us, that was the certainty that we would have been looking for in that age. But then later on, when we grow up, we need more of a different kind of a certainty. That's why we become a little bit shaken, even while they're alive, kind of concerned, because we can see that certainty that we had was a different level. Now we need it in a different level. And we're looking for that. So we're in search of psychological security, certainty when we're older. And then, so while we're busy with creating that through our job and education, this and that, we think it's all financial thing that brings us certain psychological security, which it doesn't really, but we're thinking that's all we know what we should do. Maybe we should bring the comfort, and that could give us certainty something. Or maybe we should have a girlfriend, or that give us maybe certainty or security. Maybe we should have this car or that car. Maybe that give us certainty and security. So we go after those things, and we create a certain kind of a different order. But their mom and dad are still around. So every order that we had, every certainty level that we had from childhood to the adulthood, which is on our own, we try to create it ourselves, had the parents around. So the order included their presence until they die or they go away. And suddenly, that what we were used to, which they were always there, therefore we saw them as an integral part of the order that we had been feeling and created for us in life, and we had created for ourselves throughout our life. And suddenly, we feel there is a disorder. Father is not there. Mother is not there. Things are not the same. The level of certainty, security that I had in childhood was because of them. The level of certain security that I have in the older age, depending what I've made out of myself financially or not, that's beside the point. But still, even if I am a millionaire, I still feel part of my certainty and security, psychological security, is because my father, my mother is alive. And when they are not, suddenly I feel there is a disorder. So I'm now caught up in that disorder. I'm upset for many reasons. One is because things have changed. There's a disorder. Second, I feel selfish. I love them, but they're gone. My mom, my dad, but I'm here. I kind of feel guilty. Did I do everything for them as I should have? Was I nice to them that day? Oh, I remember I was not so polite. Oh, I gave them attitude or this and that. They didn't care any of that. Don't think about any of that. I know if I die someday, if my son ever thinks of these sort of things, that he gave me attitude or not, I just want to tell him now that I loved every one of those attitudes. It never bothered me. At least not now, definitely. And not when I was alive and much older, and you were much older. And so don't even think about anything. So you guys too, don't even think about anything that you may have done or should have done differently. Oh, that gives me a guilt and so on. No, none of that is correct. So you should now be used to the fact of celebrating, living, so you could make meaning and make their sacrifice and their lives and what they did for you worth something, and be used to make you and get you somewhere, rather than making it like go to waste by really not having a good life, not enjoying your life, not progressing, not following your dreams, not making a good, comfortable life, a safe life for yourself. Don't hide. The universe needs you to help it to learn more through you. Your parents want to see that you have what they've done for you, you're using it and you're getting somewhere, not that they just, created someone who eats and goes to the bathroom and doesn't do anything because I'm dead. Well, first of all, I'm not dead. I'm dead in physical form. I'm not dead in the real form. Secondly, I want to see you do your part and make changes in your life, and I'll be happier to see that you're happy and healthy and strong. Strong mentally, not just physically. Physically be fit, but mentally strong. Handle with things, negotiate, navigate with things that happens in life. That's life. Because we're all going to go that way. You're all going to join us anyhow. I mean, I'm going to join my father someday anyhow. So what's the rush? You know? And if anything, he also, when parents die, they also open a way for us to not be so scared. Because one of the reasons that we also get affected is because we become fearful when our parents die. We become fearful for many reasons. One, the disorder, the backing. Second, we just realize that, then I'm not invincible as I always thought as I was growing up. I thought I'm a Superman. But if father dies, that means I can die too. That's how it affected me. When my father died, I felt, then I'm not really that Superman that I thought, I had horseback riding, training with horses and jumping with them and, in competitions, things, when I thought competition is important, which if it was now, I would never compete. I would just enjoy jumping with my horse, training with the horse, but I don't need to compete to prove I'm better than somebody else, because my worth is not about me being better than somebody else or doing something better than somebody else or in a different way than somebody else. It's only about how I enjoy doing whatever it is that I like to do. That's all. The rest of it is bullshit. The rest of it is just me wanting to get affirmation that I have to be better than somebody else in order to be valuable. I don't have to be better than anybody. I am better than anybody in my own mind. I don't need to go through some institution or some organization to put us against each other, and then they will tell me if I'm better than this or better than that. Who are they? I don't want to be better than anybody. I just want to do what I like to do the best way I can, and that's all there is to it. The effort is what's supposed to make me happy, not the outcome of things. So as long as I'm making an effort in whatever it is that I like to do, that's what's going to make me happy. That's going to give me value. That's going to make me feel wonderful. I don't care about how other people and to what level other people are doing whatever it is that they're doing or whatever it is that I do. So, therefore, when my father died, I felt that I'm not invisible anymore. Because my father, to some of us, father, mother, is like a god. Because we're conditioned to see them as the person of authority, person who always handled all our problems. And then, suddenly, he's not there or she's not there. Their effect are not there. And we take that as an example that therefore, I can also someday not be there. And that makes you afraid, fearful, shakes you up. So really, what is happening with us is the disappointment of what we thought it was, and it's not. So in our consciousness, we had created this invincibility, this forever life thing, this never ends things. And when father or mother dies, we see the end part. And that shakes the hell out of us. So suddenly we think there's not enough time. Suddenly we think, what have I done to myself? Suddenly we think, who's going to help me out? Do I have a backing? Even though I am fine and I don't need a backing maybe, but I've been used to that, having that backing, So these are the feelings that you may be going through, the fear of it. But you know what? This fear also tells us something. This fear also tells us that we're all going to go that way. So why should we hurry it now? Why should we die before we actually died? So we should live now, accomplish what we want to accomplish, do things that we want to do, learn things that we want to do, and be good to the people that we want to be good to. Be good to ourselves as well. Everything in moderation. Enjoy life in balance. That's what we should be doing. And he also teaches us that if you're going to go somewhere, then from now until then, we have an opportunity to affect our world positively, to affect the people that we love positively. The people that are good to us, affect them positively. Be nice to them. Be nice to ourselves. Learn what we want to learn. Accomplish what we want to accomplish. That is our chance. So when we die in the physical form, somebody will stand at our ceremony and speak a few good words about us too, as I spoke highly of my father. But we should deserve it. So therefore we have time from now till then to accomplish that kind of a personality. So we deserve to be thought of and spoken of positively, respectfully, honorably, kindly. So, my friends, pretty much that's what I wanted to talk to you about death. There's a little bit more about images and so on in the book, which you'll get to know, but it's not necessary here. And I think this would give us a little bit of a something to think about and focus on living while you're alive in the physical form. And when we die in the physical form, which the other part of us, which is the main part, I don't believe it dies. I don't know how and where does that go and how it interacts with whatever is after this physical life. Whatever it is, I don't know it, and maybe I'll learn then. And that would have its own. But I do believe that death is beginning of life, a different kind of life. Whether I'm right or wrong, I don't know, but that's what I like to think. That's the logic that I can come up with. Death and life is not the end of one. Is the end of one and beginning of another. So, in my opinion, there is no death. It's only a different kind of being, part of this universe. Love you all. Be good to yourselves. Talk to you soon. Adios, amigos, for now, until our next subject.